On the 1st of December, 1919, the first woman to sit in Parliament took to the green benches, introduced by the Prime Minister, David Lloyd George, and former Prime Minister, Arthur Balfour. Was this one of the great women's suffrage campaigners, Millicent Fawcett or Emmeline Pankhurst? No. Instead, the first woman to take her seat after Constance Markievicz, a Sinn Féin candidate elected the previous year, refused to do so, was the American political hostess Nancy Astor. Born in Virginia in 1879, Nancy Langhorne had moved to the UK in 1905, marrying Waldorf Astor the following year. When Waldorf Astor was elevated to the House of Lords, his Plymouth constituency seat became available, and Nancy threw herself into the contest, despite having no history of campaigning for women's suffrage. If you want an MP who will be a repetition of the 600 other MPs, don't vote for me. If you want a lawyer, or if you want a pacifist, don't elect me. If you can't get a fighting man, take a fighting woman. If you want a Bolshevist or a follower of Mr. Asquith, don't elect me. If you want a party hack, don't elect me. The war has taught us that there is a greater thing than parties, and that is the state. The election took place on the 15th of November. Among Astor's local supporters in Plymouth was Bessie LeCras, an early woman election agent. The count took place on the 28th of November, and Astor was elected with a majority of more than 5,000 votes. A strong advocate of temperance, Astor's maiden speech on the 24th of February, 1920, was on the subject of maintaining restrictions on the sale of alcohol. In 1923, Astor's Intoxicating Liquor, Sale to Persons Under 18 bill became the first private member's bill by a woman to become an Act of Parliament. To this day, alcohol cannot be sold to anyone under 18. Many MPs, including Winston Churchill, were hostile to the idea of women MPs. Some members refused to speak to her, and some refused to move to give her space to sit on the benches. As Astor recalled, "I know that it is very difficult for some honourable members to receive the First Lady MP into the House. It was almost as difficult for some of them as it was for the First Lady MP herself to come in. Honourable members, however, should not be frightened of what Plymouth sends out into the world." The member for Plymouth, as the sole woman in Parliament, was regarded by many women as their MP, and Astor received thousands of letters from women across the country. Reciprocally, Astor worked tirelessly for causes affecting all women. She supported calls for an equal franchise, women police, and spoke in favour of reform in areas such as housing, education, and the employment of children. Astor won 7 elections and held her seat continuously from 1919 to her retirement in 1945. The MP who replaced her in Plymouth Sutton was also a woman, Lucy Middleton, who held the seat until 1951 when Astor's son, Jakey, became the MP. When Astor died in 1964, Gilbert Campion, a former clerk of the House of Commons, reflected, "For a generation she held a continuous watching brief in the House of Commons for the best interests of women and children."